Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Madrid Notes. After a horrible performance in the El Clasico, I am here to discuss the match, the performance of the players, what went wrong, what went wrong with the tactics, with the gameplay, how we approached the game, everything. Let's start from the bottom here and let's start with the formation that we went with. We went with a hybrid 4-4-2, 4-3-3 formation where Valverde, who is not a traditional winger, he when in attack goes and plays the mm, role of an inverted winger, and when in defense, when we have to defend, he comes back and helps. But I didn't see him helping much Carvajal tonight anyway, so I don't know what his position was supposed to be. It was so chaotic on the right hand side as Carvajal was all over the place, and Valverde didn't really help him in defense as much as he normally does. So the formation from the get-go with Barcelona formation of 4-2-3-1, Xavi literally put pressure on Carvajal through Gavi and Pedri on that right hand side, left hand side of Barcelona, right hand side of ours. And because Dembele was having trouble with Mendy on the other side, they double teamed up on Carvajal there, and Carvajal is having horrible form. He has totally dropped off. I don't know what he is lacking right now. Could it be fitness? Because he was just disastrous. He was like there was nothing there on the right hand side of Real Madrid's defense. It was a highway. Everything was going through. He was nowhere to be found, and he was getting sucked in with the ball and standing in the no man's land during the second goal in the 44th minute. In the first goal, Rudiger, after coming back on, he totally misplaces a pass where there wasn't a pass. He passes the ball to Kamavinga, who was under pressure. Kamavinga loses the ball, and from there, it's so easy for the Barcelona team. Carvajal doesn't track his runner, and so it's a nice and easy goal to for Gavi. It's just an easy tap in, really, an easy tap in there. Such a poor display of defending from us all over the pitch. So the 4-3-3, 4-4-2, however you call it, whatever Ancelotti selected. So from the get-go, we didn't get it right. We didn't get our combinations right. We didn't get our placements on the field right. Valverde, how he generally performs on that side when he is being placed there. He wasn't doing that tonight. Last night, it could be that he is a little bit not organized. We are Carlo Ancelotti is always swapping him, sometimes playing him on the wing when we are so shit because we don't have a right winger. So when he doesn't have any options, his general options, Rodrigo and Asensio are not performing. He goes with Valverde, and so Valverde maybe isn't being used properly, and it's affecting his performance too. So if you are stopping him sometimes as a winger, sometimes as a midfielder, and so he is not being able to perfect position of his game because he was he is being moved so much all around the pitch. So yeah, Valverde didn't really perform. I am making too many excuses for him. The main point is Valverde didn't perform, and so the right hand side of our defense collapsed there. As Modric, when Valverde is not performing, sometimes Modric can plug the hole. But since coming back from the World Cup, Modric is a non-existent player. He is there on the field only in name, in presence. He is not on the field one bit. He is nowhere near influential enough on the ball. Off the ball, his work rate has gone down to 30%. He is not tracking runners. He is not blocking the passing lanes. He is not charging. He is not tackling. He is not doing any kind of defensive work. His defensive work rate has gone down, and that's the reason that we are suffering so much in midfield. We are giving away so much space to the opposition's midfield to do whatever they want. The only midfielder that has performed well consistently has been Tony Cruz, but one player can do so much really. So let's start with the goalkeeper for Tony Thibaut Courtois. I'm gonna give him a six after you concede three goals, even though none of the goals are his fault. Still, if you concede three goals, you cannot get more than six, to be honest. And I cannot even fault him for any of the goals. So he was saving us, saving some really, really. He was having giving some great saves. Um, Even when you concede three goals and the best player on the pitch is your goalkeeper, you understand what kind of game you were just playing. It was disastrous. It was totally disastrous. Courtois saved us on three occasions where it was goal-saving saves. It was some great world-class saves. So this match could have finished easily a humiliating kind of fashion easily. We could have lost 5-0 easily. It's only courtesy to Courtois that we kept it to a marginal, respectable level. I would say Benzema's consolation goal totally papered over the humiliation. It was humiliating to watch. It was embarrassing. It was disastrous. There was nothing that Real Madrid did that you can say that yeah, this on this aspect of the game we performed. We performed on none of none. There was nothing that we performed on the pitch tonight, last night. And the less we talk about Carvajal, the better, because I don't want to curse him too much. I already cursed him a lot last night. He is a player who cannot be a first choice right back for Real Madrid anymore. He is just He's done. He's done. He suffers from lots of physical conditions. He is injured half of the season, and the other times that he is fit, he is not in form. So, what are we keeping him in Real Madrid squad for? We even gave him another contract extension for no reason when we were seeing he has been declining steadily for the last couple of seasons. For the last two seasons, he has been having lots of physical problems. He hasn't been in form in a lot of matches. There has been in some stretch of the season where he has played all right, but he hasn't really gone back to his usual self, and I cannot really rely on Carvajal anymore. We need a fast choice right back this summer. If the management still persists with him, Lucas Vasquez, and Vinicius Tobias, I don't really expect much from our management. They have really a shit way of planning the team. Their team planning. Anyone with a working set of eyes understood that the fullback areas are our most vulnerable areas right now after the forward positions. Fullbacks, We have right back, only one right back who is, as I was talking about, not physically fit most of the season in Carvajal. Lucas Vasquez is not a right back. However much we play him as a right back, he is not a right back. He plays one game all right, the next game he has howlers. So you cannot really rely on a player like that in defense. It totally puts the defense in a disarray. You cannot have a defensive unit that is not solid. And we don't have a Sergio Ramos in our team right now. Sergio Ramos used to work a two-man's job when Marcelo was playing for Real Madrid. Marcelo was mostly a glorified left winger, to be honest. Most of the time, he wasn't defending where he needed to. He was out of position, and it was always Ramos who flagged that gap. He was defending two positions at once, and that's why you saw sometimes Ramos getting into the books more because he had to do cynical fouls to deal with those problems. But right now we don't have Sergio Ramos. We don't have him. So when on the right hand side there are players like Carvajal and Vasquez who gives all you can eat kind of buffet to the left wingers of opponents, then um, it's a disaster for the defensive unit. So anyone could have seen it. You can ask any Real Madrid fans anywhere; they will say that yeah, we need a first choice right back, and on the left hand side, left back side, Mendy. We needed Fran Garcia this season. There were rumors about us bringing him back, but for some reason, even though it's super cheap, the management finally decided no, we don't need it. Our team is still good, even though we don't even have a backup for Fran Garcia. Sorry, for Mendy. Mendy is good at the defensive side of the game, and he was one of the only defenders. He was the only defender, to be honest, who defended last night, and he defended against Usman Dembele really, really well. Dembele has been really in good form. He totally destroyed the Real Betis defense in the semi-final of the Copa del Rey. So he's no slouch. So keeping him quiet for the whole game, that was a great achievement from Mendy, and I applaud him for that. So from me, Farland Mendy gets seven. Even though we were shipped three goals, Farland Mendy gets a seven. Carvajal has been the culprit in all three of the goals. In the first goal, after Camavinga loses possession in a dangerous area, Carvajal is not in his possession. Gavi has enough time and space to slot the ball into the back of the net, and it's 1-0. In the second goal, Carvajal is sucked into the ball. He steps up, trying to. What is he doing? I don't know. He gets stranded in a no man's land, and it's so easy for who was it who passed the ball? I think it was Pedri. It was so easy for Pedri to pass the ball. It was a ground pass, ground cross, and a tap in for Lewandowski. So it all started from the disorganization that stemmed from Carvajal's back positioning, getting stranded in a no man's land, and in the third goal, it's just total disarray in the second half. Pedri gets an easy getaway, and here is Carvajal again not in possession, again getting dragged on, and again. So, if there was a minus, you could give him minus. You can give Carvajal minus. He doesn't deserve a rating. So, I'm not going to even talk about him. He gets a minus. I guess you can give him a zero. He deserves a zero. Nothing. And let's talk about Militao. When the whole defense is chaotic, other than Mendy, Rudiger, and Carvajal are being clowns. I cannot really blame Militao too much. He must be thinking in his head, what are these clowns doing? He was getting dragged all the places. There was no coordination in defense. There was no solidity. There was no shape. So I cannot even blame Militao for his performance tonight. He didn't do any glaring mistakes, so I will just to give him four because he was playing in defense and he didn't do anything great. He didn't do anything bad, but he didn't do anything great like Courtois or Mendy, so he gets a four from me. Now let's come to Rudiger. He's so shaky in possession. I have been it's clear to see. It happened during the match start when the match started in Villarreal. He was so shaky in possession. Whenever he was getting the ball in the beginning of the match, he was losing the ball. He couldn't control the ball. It happened against Valencia. Now it happened against Barcelona. He's not a ball playing center back. He's not a ball playing center back for sure. And we have to keep him away from possession when we are trying to play out from the back. He's giving us a lot of trouble. He loses the ball in dangerous possession. He cannot keep hold of the ball when he is being provided with the ball. So we need to be if we are coming playing out from the back, we need to utilize Militao, Alaba, Cruz to play out from the back. When Rudiger is on the field, just bypass him. Just bypass him. He is a disaster on the ball so far, and I don't really trust him with the ball anymore at his feet. And in the defensive side of the game, um, he was uh, he was the one who gave away the pass to Kamavinga. Kamavinga was being pressed. He gave away the pass to Kamavinga in a position where Kamavinga got under a lot of pressure and couldn't keep the ball. That there was no pass there, but Rudiger passed like a dunderhead. Totally, it was a disastrous pass. From there, we conceded the first goal, and after that, it just all went downhill. And his defensive side of the game hasn't really impressed me much, on to be honest. So, as soon as Alaba is fit, I hope that we go back to a Militao Alaba partnership. I don't think Rudiger is good enough to start for Real Madrid. Nacho hasn't done anything wrong, and there are some reports coming out that players don't understand why Rudiger is starting ahead of Nacho when. And I even talked about it that Nacho was so solid against Valle. Nacho was so solid against Valencia in the semi-final, and he's dropped. But Rudiger, who has been shaky in the recent matches, he keeps being picked. So I guess Ancelotti has decided that Rudiger is going to be the first choice backup for Alaba and Militao. And I cannot blame him for that. But the kind of form that Rudiger is in, if he keeps that kind of bad form going on, then I think he should be replaced by Nacho in the center of the defense. And Rudiger gets two from me. That's it. That's the defense done. So Militao gets four, Rudiger gets two from me. And now let's go to our midfield. In midfield, we have Cruz, who was just running a rudderless ship, to be honest. There was no one performing alongside Cruz in that midfield. Modric was a ghost. Modric was a literal ghost for the whole time he was on the pitch. Camavinga was doing well. I don't know why Carlo Ancelotti took Camavinga out after 45 minutes. Maybe he I don't know, Modric. If you wanted to take someone out of that midfield, it should have been Modric because Modric was doing nothing. He was doing nothing in defense. He was doing nothing in possession. He was doing nothing on the ball or off the ball. So it was an unfair decision to take off Kamavinga instead of Modric. So I don't really know. Uh, Tony Cruz couldn't really marshal the midfield here because he wasn't really having the help that he needed. He is not a defensive midfielder. He was playing as a deep line playmaker, and he can really just do so much. So in absence when we don't have Aurelian Chouameni, we need all the help we can get to run competitive midfield, and Modric didn't help in that case. So we had I don't know, uneven kind of midfield where it wasn't functioning. It wasn't a functioning midfield, so the midfield got dominated. Tony Cruz couldn't show his class where he needed to be shown. He needed a partner here. Kamavinga is the more inexperienced one. He couldn't really deal with the pressure with the Barcelona midfield, and we got dragged on. So Tony Cruz gets a 5 from me. Kamavinga gets a 5 from me. Modric gets a 3 from me. It was a really, really horrible performance from Modric. He has been having really off. He has been off form since the World Cup has finished. I think he needs to be um, benched for some time. For I don't know, for a couple of weeks. I don't think he is physically ready for the matches yet. He still looks really tired. Physically, he's not there. I think he needs to work on his physical condition more after the really busy World Cup. I think it really affected him a lot, and it's understandable. He's 37 years old. So we should be playing a Valverde Cruz, and Kamavinga midfield until Chouameni is back from his injury. That's my 2 cents on there. So that's it for the midfield. Let's go to attack. Karim Benzema. I don't know what we can even talk about Karim Benzema because he was getting no service. He was being stranded on an island. There was no service from the midfield. He wasn't being there wasn't many chance created. You need to create at least two, three chances for the striker for them to grab onto those chances and score goals. You need to at least give him two chances to score one goal because unless you are massively clinical, scoring from one, a single chance is really, really difficult. He had a really good chance in the first half where Mendy crossed a pinpoint cross, so his header went out way not over the bar by the side by the sideboards, and it was a really good cross and a really good chance to score from a header, but he couldn't guide the ball. He couldn't guide the ball through to the back of the net. But that's it. That was the only chance I can remember that he has gotten in the first half. That's it. And you cannot really expect your striker to perform with that level of service. Strikers depend on service. Even though Benzema can create for himself and he can combine with the other players well, with the midfield, with the wingers, but he will need service too. He can only do so much. He is one guy, and Vinicius got locked on by Araujo whenever he got away from Araujo. There were two, three players, defenders, who were crowding him out and taking the ball away from him. There was no support from him from the midfield. There was no support for him from Mendy. So I cannot really blame Vinicius. You were totally stranding him on an island on that left hand side. Like he has to dribble through two, three players before he can do anything. You have to go give him an outlet on that side. Mendy has to sometimes overlap. Mendy never does overlap. He's always on the safe side, and he's that kind of fullback. So I understand that. But if Mendy is not going to help him, the midfielder that's playing on the left side has to go and combine with Vinicius to get him out of trouble, or else he loses the possession and he loses the battle. Carlo Ancelotti's tactics totally was failure in this match. I would say he couldn't provide enough support for Vinicius. He couldn't provide service to Benzema when you cut off Vinicius, and the midfield isn't providing any chances. So where will your striker, where will your forwards get their opportunities from? And without any chances and opportunities to get a shot on goal, how were you supposed to score a goal? So there was no threat from Real Madrid throughout the most of the match. There were isolated moments, one or two, but you cannot really call that any kind of you cannot comprehend it as a tactical plan. It was just some individual brilliance, sometimes some lapse of concentration from Barcelona's defense. But that's it. That's it. There was no coherent tactical plan in our strategy last night. It was just depending on some individual brilliance and just figuring out as the match go, as we do a lot of the times. But yesterday it was just a disaster. So Vinicius, I gave him a 5. For Benzema, I gave him a 6. And yeah, Valverde, he did nothing really on that right hand side. He was just confused. I don't know what his role was. I was confused to see what Valverde was doing. So I would give him a 4, maximum 4. That's it. He was doing nothing. He was just there. He was just there. He was creating nothing. He was defending nothing much. So he was just there, and don't even want to talk about the substitutes because yeah, Rodrigo came on 40 during the after the first half. Kamavinga got hooked on unfairly. It should have been Modric. Rodrigo did as he does on the right wing. He does nothing much, and that's it. So I'm not going to even rate the substitutes because there is nothing much to rate from the substitute. So the bottom, and Carlo Ancelotti gets a 1 from me. His total game plan, his total tactical setup, his strategy for the game, everything really backfired. He didn't pick back four, which defended well. It's not his fault, but he should have given them enough. Protection. Valverde's, I don't know what Valverde's role is. He didn't really shield Carvajal last night when Carvajal was having a torrid time against Gavi and Pedri. Carvajal needed help because he needed some get out of jail help because he was getting torn to shreds by these two energetic midfielders. They were not even, tricky wingers like Neymar, like Dembele, those kind of players. They were really energetic midfielders who got the best of him, who totally they made his life hell. So it was easy to see that Carvajal needed help. You either help him or you take him off, and you bring in Nacho on Carvajal's place in the second half. You don't wait to go 3-0 down. You don't wait for that. Carvajal was having such a horrid time. He needed to be replaced during the halftime. Carlo Ancelotti didn't do it, and that's the mistake, and that's Carlo Ancelotti's fault. He didn't help his struggling player there. He didn't give Valverde, I think, the instructions that Valverde needed to perform on that side because Valverde, I don't know what his role is. His role was unclear to me. It was a confusing role. And then Modric, I don't know why Modric stayed for so long. He should have been replaced in the halftime with Sebas or whoever it is because he was doing nothing. So that goes the yeah, and the formation. He needs to change the formation. We don't have a right wing player. So what's the point of playing a 4-3-3 when you don't have a right winger? There is no right winger in Real Madrid squad. There is nothing. Nada. So there is no point in playing a 4-3-3. Maybe he needs to go to some hybrid formation where we play with two forwards, and if the um, management listened to him and brought him a striker, maybe he could have done something. I cannot blame him for not being able to change his squad, change his formation because there is nothing much in that squad for to change really. It's a, I don't know, thin squad. It's thin to its bones. Last night Michael Owen or whoever it was talking about after the match that he was shocked to see Barcelona's defense compared to Real Madrid's defense compared to Barcelona's defense. You can see Barcelona, yeah, sorry, bench, Real Madrid's bench compared to Barcelona's bench. You can see in Barcelona's bench there was sitting Ansu Fati, there was Memphis Depay, there was Rafinha. So three really good attacking options just there sitting. And in Real Madrid's bench, there is a washed up Hazard who is just, I don't know, he is, yeah, I don't want to talk about him. A washed up Hazard, a Mariano who is, yeah, we cannot even talk about these players. They're so bad and so useless. The only attacking option in that Real Madrid's bench is Rodrigo and a serviceable Asensio, who can just make up the numbers. They are not. Asensio is not an impactful player. Rodrigo sometimes can make an impact, but that's the most we can hope for. Just imagine Benzema being absent, like he was absent during the first half of the season. He going absent once more because at that time Valverde was in form. He was scoring some really good goals. Vinicius was in form. He was contributing with goals. Valverde has lost his form. Vinicius has lost his form, and now the goals trickling down through Benzema, some penalties. So that kind of squad planning is really negligible and really irresponsible from the Real Madrid board. They are not helping Carlo Ancelotti one bit. We should have bought, even if we do not want to buy anyone in that winter transfer market, look at someone we can bring on loan who can go back after 6 months if you don't like him. A lone player as a forward in forward role would have been really great. We could have loaned someone as a backup to our right back, maybe someone on loan. We can loan some. We don't need to loan someone, to be honest. If we are not going to use Nacho as the first choice backup to center back, we can use Nacho as the first choice backup to Mendy at the very least. So we need two really pressing matters, and that is a right back and a forward that can play right wing role, especially the right wing role. A right wing specialist, not someone who can work there, but not a right winger. We need a right winger. And there is a player, of course, and that is, I have been talking about him a lot. That's Bukayo Saka from Arsenal. If we had been scouting him, I haven't heard any reports. He is so good in that right wing role. He is one of the only players in football right now who is, you can say that he excels at the right wing role. There is a really there aren't many right wingers, world class right wingers, or world class talents in right wing nowadays. So the ones there are, it's few in numbers. I don't think Bukayo Saka has extended his contract yet. If we had some kind of uh, I don't know who plans our squads, who is scouting, if they're scouting in England or not. They should have. I think Bukayo Saka should be one of the names in the list at the very least to improve this attack. But we haven't heard anything from any of the reputed journalists about Real Madrid considering anything for Saka. Everything goes to Jude Bellingham, Jude Bellingham, Jude Bellingham. They are obsessed with the midfield. They are not bringing in enough reinforcements in the fullback areas. They are not bringing reinforcements in for attacking areas. So it's just uh, it's not a coherent kind of plan from the management, from the team, the people who plan the squad. So there is our problem. We need to take care of these problems. And now let's talk about the rest of the season. On Thursday we have Villarreal who kicked our ass the other night in La Liga. They have a manager who easily identified our weakness, and that's the fullback areas. They pressed our fullbacks. They made them commit mistakes, and they punished us from that, and we lost as we do not score enough goals. We lost 2-1. So we are gonna face them in the Copa del Rey if we do not get our shit together by Thursday. We are getting kicked out because it's Villarreal Stadium again, where the most in the last 5 years we have gotten is a draw. So we are getting our shit kicked out in Villarreal Stadium once more on Thursday if we don't get our shit together, and we will be knocked out of another competition. And in La Liga, I don't know what we are going to do. Barcelona has a better squad depth, and in the later stages of the season, squad depth comes into play when we are playing Champions League matches midweek and league matches on weekends. You need your squad players to step up and help you up. But we don't have any squad depth to talk about who can help us during that busy stretch of the season. So if there isn't some miracle and Barcelona drop off massively, I don't expect Real Madrid to win this league. I expect Barcelona to go on and win this league. So we are already out. We'll be already out of the Copa del Rey if we do not. We can be out of the Copa del Rey on Thursday, this Thursday, because Villarreal has a superior. I don't know. Right now, they are physically superior. Their players are in better form. They have been winning regularly. They even won their last league match. They won against us too. They won, I think. Yeah. So they are in superior forms, physically superior shape right now. They will be playing in their stadium. So I do not expect. Do not expect a comfortable match for us. So we will see if we win or lose, but it will be a very difficult stadium to come away with a result. So that's the league. I don't expect us to win the league this season. And in the Champions League, this team, I don't think they have the capabilities to go ahead and win against teams like Manchester City, PSG, Bayern Munich. Yeah, I think that's it. I think PSG, Manchester City, Bayern Munich, the traditionally big clubs are suffering right now. Real Madrid is suffering. Liverpool is suffering right now. I don't expect anything from Tottenham. There is who else is playing in the Champions League this season? Tottenham, Manchester City, Liverpool. Who is the other team? Chelsea. Chelsea is shit. Chelsea is super shit. So Chelsea, yeah, the traditionally better team like yeah Liverpool, they are suffering. I don't know who is going to go ahead between Liverpool and us. Someone joked after the match last night in the commentary that yeah in the Liverpool Real Madrid match they expect both of us to lose. So that's the kind of form we are in. Liverpool are in. We don't even know who is going to win that match. We can speculate who is going to win the Champions League later. So yeah, and we remember that what happened during the second half of the second season of Ancelotti last time, the 2014-2015 season. We totally, like a house of cards, it all fell down. It all just fell down during the second half of the season. The team wasn't physically in good shape. There were lots of injuries, important injuries to Modric, to other players, Xavi Alonso, and whatever. And so we crashed out of Champions League. We lost La Liga. We crashed out of Copa del Rey. We finished the season as a trophyless, considering we didn't win any big trophies. You can just call it trophyless when you don't win any big trophies. Really, European Super Cup. Okay, sounds nice. Another Club World Cup could be. We can win the Club World Cup, but this kind of form, I don't even expect us to beat the Brazilian teams or the other teams. They will be coming with all their might. They will be giving everything. If we don't reciprocate their enthusiasm, we can't even win the Club World Cup. That's in February next month. So yeah, there are some concerns that Real Madrid can replicate that a disastrous season under Ancelotti in the second half of second season, and it looks like it's going that way because the players are physically inferior. They are tired. They are exhausted. And Ancelotti, he thrives on positivity in his camp. Whenever things start going south, he cannot really do much to bring it back to the optimum level once more. So it will be a challenge for him once more, because if we don't win any of the major trophies, I think he's getting the sack at the end of the season. I think, yeah, with Zidane again free, yeah, I think there is a chance that he can come back. And if we do not win the La Liga, or at least the Copa del Rey at the very least, I think Ancelotti will get the sack, and that's my prediction. Yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Hala Madrid.